And this week in our special In Focus series, The American Recovery, we've examined where the economy is growing and where headwinds remain. In tonight's final installment on this day of very positive news about jobs, we shift to the bigger picture and explore what the long-term obstacles are to America's economic primacy and prosperity. In Focus on this Jobs Friday, The American Recovery, the challenges we face. Challenge number one, healthcare. We will spend $2.8 trillion on it this year. That's about 1 out of every $6 the U.S. economy will generate. We pay more for health care than the next 10 biggest spenders combined. And we don't get better results. We have higher rates of disease and injury for every age up to 75 and shorter lifespans than any of 17 other wealthy nations. We rank 50th in the world in infant mortality. According to Time magazine, Cuba is number 41.
We have to do something about healthcare costs, which is what the main driver of stuff. But that doesn't really mean cutting benefits, that means cutting costs.
Bottom line, even though healthcare creates jobs, an expected 5.5 million this decade, what we spend on it is a weight on our economy and our future prosperity. Challenge number two, America's infrastructure. Roads, bridges, water system, transit, the electric grid, all outdated or crumbling or both, and it's costing us. According to the World Economic Forum, the U.S. ranks 25th in overall infrastructure, behind Barbados and Oman, and one spot ahead of Qatar.
We're going to lose 3.5 million jobs.
Pat Natal heads up the American Society of Civil Engineers.
We're looking at a $3,100 negative impact on your pocketbook.
Natal's group, which admittedly has a vested interest in infrastructure spending, says that by 2020, the U.S. could lose almost $1 trillion a year in commerce unless we invest more in our physical plant. Case in point, he says,
we lose about 6 billion gallons of good, clean drinking water out of our system every day.
Bottom line, the U.S. spends 2% of GDP on infrastructure, half what it did 50 years ago. Europe spends 5%, China 9%. That's a competitive risk. Which brings us to challenge number three, global competitiveness. We're number 7 now, down 2 spots in the World Economic Forum's latest ranking. It's the 4th year in a row the U.S. has slipped. High labor costs are hurting. Damaging too is a complex tax code, regulation, and a political system that critics say is dysfunctional. But perhaps most troubling of all, we're shortchanging research and development. U.S. R&D spending grew just 3% as a share of GDP from 1987 to 2008. Meanwhile, China's rose 110%, Korea's 91%. In part, that lack of investment has left America with a skills gap, and that leads to challenge number 4, education. We spend $810 billion a year on it for primary and secondary schooling alone, close to $8,000 per school-age child, far more than any other developed country. Yet American students rank 17th in science, 25th in math out of 34 industrialized nations. Of the 1.6 million bachelor's degrees awarded in 2009, only about 6% were in engineering, half the average for rich countries. Only 15,000 degrees were in math. That's half as many as were awarded in parks, recreation, leisure, and fitness studies, which is nothing against parks and recreation, but which does show the education challenge we face. You know, Susie, challenges, really the other side of challenges, are opportunities. And there's a lot of opportunities here. We got a lot of things going for us. The deepest, best capital markets in the world. We also have the most flexible labor markets in the world and an amazing gift for reinvention.
And innovation. We are a country of entrepreneurs.
We're the leaders there.
Yeah, don't count out
But
the
these
US.
are the headwinds. These are the challenges.
Really nice piece, Tyler.